Welcome back to another Spirit Island video. In this video, we're going to be doing another tier list. This tier list is going to be looking at minor cards, and we're going to cover all of the minor cards in the base game, the Branching Claw expansion, Jagged Earth, and then finally the single card that comes in the Nature's Incarnate expansion, Roiling Bog. With that said, let's get started. So we have S tier here. I'm probably going to divide this up into 3 videos. I think there are 100 minor cards, which is a lot more than I think it was 66 majors, and that took me quite some time with 2 videos. So this will probably be divided into 3 videos: an S and a B tier, and then a C and F. Looking at S tier, we have Growth Through Sacrifice. I have a blue X through it, and that's because this minor card, it used to be the best minor card in the game, and it has an X because it is getting removed. So if you're playing with this card, I suggest probably throwing it in the garbage, but in the new expansion, they are officially removing Growth Through Sacrifice. The reason why this card is one of the best cards in the game, or the best card, is it's essentially a proliferation. It says destroy one of your presence, and then target spirit may either remove a blight or add a presence. And it's really that second line of text where it says add one of their presence to their lands that makes this card so powerful. Just being able to prolift players, a 0 cost, it's a quad element, just a very, very powerful card. So, but it is getting retired, so this card is no longer available, which means there needs to be a new best card in the game. Good thing, Gift of Constancy has the power to fill those shoes. So Gift of Constancy is a 0 cost Sun Earth. Target spirit gains 2 energy, and then at the end of the turn, target spirit may reclaim 1 power instead of discarding it. If you target another spirit, you also get to do that. So for 1 card that's 0 cost, you're giving the team +2 energy and +2 reclaims. This card is busted, and I'm pretty sure this is the best card in the game. It's nowhere near as broken as GTS, but it's definitely it's pretty clear that this is the card. Outside of Gift of Constancy, this is the rest of S tier. I really don't think these cards are as good as Constancy. Now they're all very powerful because they are here, but they aren't so they're a lot closer together. So the next 2 cards, I have Gift of Living Energy, which is a Sun Fire Plant, 0 cost, and this is a +2 energy card if you target yourself, or +3 if you target another player, and that's also assuming that you have 2 Sacred Sites. It's like a worse Gift of Constancy. There's no reclaims, but there's that chance that you can get that extra point of energy, and then you also get another element. Gift of Nature's Connection is the next card here. It's a 0 cost, and it says target spirit gains either 2 energy or 2 of a single element of their choice. If you target another spirit, you gain an element of your choice. Just like Gift of Living Energy and Constancy, this card can be used to give another player 2 energy, and then if you're targeting another spirit, you can gain an element, or you can pivot and use this as a single elemental card. Quite powerful, 0 cost. I mean, this is just these 3 cards, just very, very strong. They break the game. They're part of the reason why a lot of spirits up here can do crazy things, especially into the higher difficulties. I now have this next column of 3 defend cards. We have Call to Guard, Sap Strength, and Carapace Land. All 3 of these things have one thing in common. I'm not going to go through the exact defense, but basically it's a 0 cost card and has high defend. So Sap, it's a defend 5. Carapace Land, it's either defend 3 or defend 6. And then Call to Guard, it's defend 1 per Dahan, but you also get to gather a Dahan as well. So it's Dahan movement as well as a Dahan defend. So it's 0 cost and very powerful defend abilities. The next column here is a support column, and this is where I have Gift of Power. Gift of Power is one of the quad element cards, and I believe I think there's 5 0 cost quad allies, and those are Very, very powerful. Just the fact that you can play a zero cost card and get 4 elements. In addition, this card allows you to dig for more cards in that minor power deck. Call to trade. I see a lot of players undervalue this card quite a lot. This is basically 1 energy. It says it's a fast 2 range. You have to target a land with Dahan. That's very important. A lot of players forget that the target land has to have Dahan. It then says you may gather 1 Dahan, and then it says if the terror level is 2 or lower, gather a town, and the first Ravage in target land this turn becomes a build instead. It's 4 elements as well. But yeah, this is a 1 energy Ravage skip that you can find in the minor deck. Very powerful. The range is generous. The town gather can stop a city build as well. Like this game, or if you draft Call to Trade and you're playing like Sweden, Habsburg, Scotland, all 3 of those adversaries just get countered by this single card. So if you ever see this card and you're playing against those adversaries, you should pick this card up in a heartbeat. I think the biggest weakness to this card is it needs to target Dahan, and a lot of players forget that. Once again, you can't gather a Dahan to meet the targeting restriction. Okay, you have to be able to target the land has to have a Dahan before you can execute this whole card. Lastly, we have Call to Isolation. It's a 0 cost sun air animal. It's a fast 1 range target land of Dahan. It says push 1 explorer or 1 town per Dahan, or push 1 Dahan. This card is very, very powerful. It's 0 cost, fast Dahan movement, or fast control. You'll see me pick this card up a lot of times just because, not for the elements, but just because it's the effect. A lot of times if you have like, let's say Explore Town and you have two Dahan there, this card reads for 0 cost, you stop a city build and solve the land. So, very, very powerful card. Let's see if there's anything else regarding these. I think that's it for the first set. So let's flip over and let's talk about A tier. Oh, I don't know why I flipped that. That didn't work out as expected. Okay, there we go. Let's go with the top. Actually, I have it sorted in columns. I have everything kind of organized quite nicely. So, okay. So these first 2 columns, this is A tier. So my criteria for S tier, these are cards that you can draft in any spirit all the time, and you will be happy with these cards. And that's my criteria with S tier. It's the flexibility of the card. It doesn't matter if I'm playing Shadows. It doesn't matter if I'm playing Lightning, Stone, whatever. If I see these cards, I'm going to instantly grab them. Now, there are some cases where maybe a card in A tier, B tier, C tier may be better than the S tier cards, but still these S tier cards are cards that you are considering. A tier cards are similar to S tier, except there's more constraints. Sometimes you may not pick an A tier card just because of one of the constraints. Looking over here, we have Quicken. It's a 1 energy Sacred Site, defend 10 or 1 damage to each building. We have Nature's Res. It's a 1 cost, defend 6 with a possibility of blight removal. Fire in the Sky. It's a 1 energy, 2 fear and a strife. That strife typically is like defend 3 kind of, but the strife is important into matchups like Sweden or heavy damage adversaries. We have Roiling Bog. This is the GTS replacement. So starting in Nature's Incarnate, this card is leaving GTS, and we're getting it replaced with Roiling Bog. This is that quad element, which is very important. 0 cost quad element. It's a 1 fear, isolate, defend 2. Dahan cannot move out of target land, and 1 Dahan does not participate in the Ravage step. Drift Down. It's a 0 cost. Try elements, defend 1 with the possibility of it being a defend 4 if it's Jungle Sands. And then finally, we have Mez Tranquility. It's a water earth animal. Fast, 0 range, target any. You get to isolate the land, and then each invader does -1 damage. I have these 6 cards in this column. This is that defensive column, and really these cards are just very strong defensive tools. There are some constraints. So for instance, Quicken, It needs that 0 range Sacred Site, but it is a defend 10. So like defend 10 usually solves a land. So if you could set up that Sacred Site, this is a perfect defense for you. And it's 4 elements. Nature's Res, like defend 6 from a Sacred Site, just very, very powerful. Fire in the Sky, it's on the weaker end, I would say, for A tier for the defensive cards, but the fact that this can counter Sweden, and also the Strife ad is very important into France, makes this card a lot better. Roiling Bog, I mean, it's quad element, defend 2, isolate. I mean, there's so much utility with this card. I mean, it comes with fear too. Like isolate, good against England, Scotland. Defend 2, you could pretty much use this into most adversaries and it will defend the land. And then it's quad element, so drift down, situational defend 4, but it's 0 cost and the range is 2. The defend 1 also, don't sleep on that, no pun intended. But that defend 1 a lot of times has saved me. Like if there's just a lone town in the land, or if a land explores back to back and it's explorer town, you kill the town and it explores again, so there's 2 explorers. This defend 1 will save the land. Mez Tranquility, it's very similar to Rolling Bog. It's a isolate, and then every invader does -1 damage. So this solves a town explorer because that town explorer -1 damage, -1 damage. So, and then if you're also able to repeat this card, you get -2 to all invaders. A lot of times that can completely cancel out a land from ravaging. Let's look at this next column here. Oh, not that one. There we go. Well, that didn't work out. Okay, there we go. So we got the support column. We have Twin Days, Elemental Boon, Spur, and Sky Stretch. I have these cards here just because they are very powerful support tools, but they're a little bit more situational than Gift of Power. Twin Days, it says, well, so it's a 1 cost Sun Moon. It says target another. Once this turn, target spirit may repeat the lowest power card or the lowest cost power card they have in play by paying its cost again. You get to do, or you may do likewise. This card allows for 2 repeats. The reason why it's here and not S tier is it's a 2 element card and it costs 1 energy, and you have to repeat the lowest cost. So there are going to be cases where this card is just, it's off element for a lot of spirits because it's only 2 elements. And the repeats, since it's your lowest cost, it's very situational with what you can repeat. Now the card is still very powerful. It's just not S tier worthy. Elemental Boon. This card can be very good or it can just be mediocre. And the fact that it can just be mediocre is why I have it in A tier. But when it's very good, it's giving that other spirit that extra set of elements they need. Like Snake. Snake needs that extra earth plant. You can give Snake an elemental boon, and oh look, now they're hitting that proliferation threshold, right? Maybe it's Fractured. Fractured needs like just that 1 or 2 extra elements to set up their slips for the turn. And that's where elemental boon can come into play. So really, this card has a lot of value the more players you have, because then there's that chance that there's a lot of elemental overlap between spirits. I really love grabbing Elemental Boon if I'm playing like Earth, and then there's a Starlight in game, and then we're just constantly grabbing the Earth Plant cards, or the Earth Plant elements from this thing, and it's hitting two spirits innates. It's just a lot of fun. Spur, once again, this card's very strong. Just being able to give another player a +1 energy and +1 play. It's here and not S tier because that 1 energy cost can be pretty big, especially with the elements sometimes can be off element depending on the spirit. And a lot of problems with these cards here, these 4 support cards, is spirits that are opting for that major style of play. That means 2 plays and a lot of energy. They really can't afford to play a card like this, while they could afford to play a card like Gift of Power. Sky Stretch, it's a 1 cost 4 element card. It says this turn, target spirit may use 1 slow power as fast or vice versa. They also get +3 range for targeting coastal lands. Very powerful card because this is the only miner in the entire game that allows you to make something slow to fast well, another player's power slow to fast. And outside of lightning and whirlwind, it's, oh, I guess lightning, whirlwind, fractured. Is there anything else that can make things slow to fast? I don't believe so. But outside of those three spirits, this is the only way to do it. So a lot of times players will be digging through this minor deck trying to find this card to kind of solve their game or solve the game because they need to make a major power slow to fast this turn or they're dead. So I like that this card exists. I don't think it's too powerful. It's just having one of these in the deck is fun. This next column I have, well, so this column here, I have cards that can affect two different lands. And Call to Trade is similar in that way. Remember, you're doing a Ravage skip and then you're gathering a town out, and that gathering the town is going to stop a city build. For this column, you have Entrancing Apparitions, Gold's Allure, and Encompassing Ward. A lot of times these three cards can stop or solve two lands. And Entrancing Apparitions, it says it's a defend 2, and then if no invaders are present, gather up to 2 explorers. This card is so critical into matchups like Prussia or Russia or France, where you have multiple explorers in the early turns. And this card here, Entrancing Apparitions, just stops multiple builds. For instance, if I'm playing Prussia 6 here and my board looks like this, right? And this is like my starting explorer. I play Entrancing Apparitions on this wetland here, and now, oh look, I stopped 2 builds. So this is almost always a card you want to pick into Prussia. Gold's Allure. It's a 0 cost fire, earth, animal. It's 1 range targeting a mountain. Gather an explorer and town, and then add a strife. Once again, you're hitting 2 different lands. If, for instance, I have like, let's say it's wetlands this turn. It's they just explored wetlands. And let's say it looked like this in jungle. Jungle was the last turn explore build. Let's say you had Dahan here. You can play Gold's Allure, gathering the explorer out of my A5, then gathering the town. You then add that strife, and now you softened up your A8 such that your Dahan, well, assuming you can get a defend there, but you softened it up such that instead of having 6 damage, you only have 4 damage. But just basically being able to hit multiple lands, and then you also get a strife, and then it's also 0 cost. This card is just very good. Encompassing Ward. It's a 1 cost sun, water, earth. Defend 2 in every land where target spirit has presence. This card, there are so many games where I've played this card and it's defended 2, 3 lands. And 1 energy to stop 3 blight with 1 card is yeah, that's pretty powerful. It's situational. Not every game are you going to be able to stop multiple builds with this card, or not builds, multiple blight. But it's still a lot of value. This next column here is going to be similar to Call to Isolation, basically fast explorer town movement. Lure of the Unknown. This is another one of those 0 cost quad elements. It's a fast 2 range, and it's a gather, a town, or an explorer. I mean, it's just a great card. It's a free card that lets you stop a build or stop a city build. Stops a Ravage too. It's just great. And then worst case, you just forget it because it has moon air. Because those moon air events are just very very painful. So Enticing Splendor, 0 cost sun, air, animal. Very similar to Lure. It's a gather and explore town, or then you also have that ability to gather to Dahan. Just fast explore town movement for 0 cost. Very effective. Treacherous, you get to add a wilds or push an explorer. Once again, it's a 0 cost tri-element card. It's a little bit more situational compared to Enticing and Lure because you have to pick mountain wetland. But still, this card, I picked this card up so many times. It doesn't matter the spirit, even if it's off element, just because being able to fast push an explorer for free is it's just great. This next column, let's see what I got here. This is my Dahan movement column. That's also pretty powerful card. So we have Sky's Herald. It's a quad element sun, moon, plant, animal. It costs an energy. A spirit with presence on target board may add one of their destroyed presence there to the target land. You then get to gather 2 Dahan and then push a blight. This card, once again, it's an A tier. It's very strong. It does a lot of things for you. It gathers Dahan. It's 4 elements. It can bring back destroyed presence, moving blight out. It's just great. This is one of the best Dahan movement cards in the game. It's also fast Dahan movement too. Veil, it's a 1-cost moon air animal. Range 2, targeting a land with Dahan. It says for each Dahan, 1 damage to a different invader. And then, or you may push up to 3 Dahan. So it's a fast Dahan movement or the 1 damage to a different invader. And this first part is why it's in A tier and not in B tier, because a lot of times you may have lands, especially into France or Russia, where it looks like 2 explorers or 2 Dahan, and then you can play this single card and it completely stops the land. And then worst case, you just use it as Dahan movement or as forget fodder. Promises of Power and Protection. It's a 0-cost sun earth animal. It's Sacred Site 2 range, gather up to 2 Dahan. Dahan have +2 health while in target land. Really, this is just a fast Dahan movement card that costs 0. I think part of the reason why this is up here is because it lets you threshold Vigor of the Breaking Dawn and also combos with it. Let me find that card. Just to show everybody what that is. Vigor. This is a major. The threshold is 3/2. It says 2 damage per Dahan in target land. If you threshold, you may push up to 2 Dahan. In lands you push to 2 damage per Dahan. With this, plus promises, you just need a single sun and you get to threshold Vigor. In addition, promises is it combos with Vigor. You're able to move Dahan to set up a Vigor target. But I find myself taking this card quite a lot, especially with it being off element, because I play a lot of Roots, and Roots doesn't really like these elements. I mean, Sun Earth is Roots elements, but not having Plant really hurts. But I still find myself picking this card up because it's a 0-cost Dahan movement. This column here is utility. We have Cycles of Time and Tide, as well as Call of the Dahan Ways. Both of these cards add Dahan. Cycles of Time and Tide allows you to also remove Blight, and it is a Sun Moon card, or Sun Moon Water. Call of the Dahan Ways is a Moon Water animal, 1-cost slow. You get to replace an Explorer with a Dahan. If you have 2 Moon, you may replace a Town with a Dahan instead. These are the only ways in the minor deck that we can add Dahan. So these cards tend to be pretty good. The fact that this can hit towns or just replacing explorers against Russia is really important too. And then Cycles is a blight removal. Like the fact that they have 2 different effects makes them very flexible. And well, I guess this only has 1 effect, but you can hit 2 different types of invaders. But these cards are very flexible, and adding more Dahan is very powerful for a lot of spirits. The last 2 cards I'm going to cover in this video are the token producers, Hazards as well as Twilight. Both of these, once again, these are 4-element 0-cost cards. So just to review the 4, we have Gift of Power, Roiling Bog, Lure of the Unknown, Hazards, and Twilight Fog. These are all 5 of those, and all 5 are in A or S tier. So just 0-cost heavy element cards are very important. But Hazards spread, it says you choose a type of token from among those that exists in an adjacent land, and then you get to add one of that type of token to an adjacent land. This card, a lot of players forget there has to be that token in an adjacent land. So if I have a beast token in A1 and I want to add a beast, it has to be adjacent to B1. I cannot choose A1 because it cannot be adjacent to itself. So a lot of players, they'll play this card to add the same token to that land, and that's a mistake that a lot of people make. Next card is Twilight Fog. It's a Sun, Moon, Air, Water, and it's add a Strife, push a Dahan, and then all Dahan take a damage. The damage part sucks, but adding a Strife and being a 0-cost quad element is very important. So that concludes this video. This is my S and A tier. There will be more more of these videos in the future, covering the rest of the cards. If you like this video, like, subscribe for more content. I'll see you guys in the next video.